Pathmonk is the intelligence tool for website lead generation. With increasing online competition, you probably know that over 98% of website visitors don't convert their leads. And the ability to successfully show your value proposition and support visitors in their buying journey is what separates basically you from the competition online. The way that Pathmonk can help in this regard is by qualifying and converting those leads on your website, by figuring out where they are in the buying journey and influencing them in key decision moments with relevant micro experiences like case studies, intro videos, and much more. So stay relevant to your visitors and increase conversions by more than 50%. How? By adding Pathmonk to your website in seconds, letting the artificial intelligence do all the work, getting access to more than 50% qualified leads, while you keep doing marketing and sales as usual. Check us out on Pathmonk. Welcome to today's episode of Pathmonk Presents. Let's talk about today's guest. We have Victoria Sakal with us today, joining us from Wonder. Victoria, it's good to have you on today's show. I hope I mentioned and pronounced everything right. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. So as a brief introduction, tell us your company, your own words. What is Wonder all about?
Absolutely. So I'll start with a little bit of context because I feel like it might resonate with a lot of listeners here. We live in a world where there's a lot of information, and whether we're professionally curious just to stay on top of our game or we need answers to different questions to inform our strategies, there's a lot of ways we can get those answers. There's primary research, there's behavioral data, there's also a lot of secondary desk research out there. Historically, that meant we, and as an ex-consultant, I feel this pain acutely, but we spent a lot of time Googling, trying to find, the right size of this or trend around that, or deep dive around perspectives on whatever it might be. Lately, there's GPT and other LLMs that we can turn to get attempts at answers to those questions. But both Google and LLMs have their flaws. With Google, you're going to end up on either page 15, hoping you're finding something relevant, or probably sinking a few hours into cross-referencing and pulling together your reports. With LLMs, they have their own basket of problems, hallucinations, knowing how to ask the right question, fighting with the thing to tell you what you really want to know, but it doesn't really know, and, hoping that the answers you're getting back are accurate, but having to verify them. Wonder aims to help innovators, so people who are building businesses, answering professional questions, get answers faster. And so the crux of it is using the horsepower of AI. We have multi-LLM prompt engineering components that will ask your question, but also help clarify it for you. And then we pair that with humans who are expertly trained researchers. They know your category. They know the ins and outs of research. They also know the ins and outs of plugins, of prompt engineering, of all these, AI and LLM developments. So you're getting your insights farther and faster with the credibility of humans, but the kind of speed and breadth that AI bring to the combination. So we're answering professional business questions around desk research at its core, but it's been pretty exciting to see this space evolve. And Wonder uniquely, there's always competitors for everything, there's alternatives for everything, but Wonder kind of uniquely solves this problem. So it's been a great ride so far.
Excellent. All right, so that everyone that is listening, right, can get a good understanding of your company, I want to ask you a few more questions related to this. So you mentioned that let's say that you use AI, as you mentioned, to, let's say, help get fast answers for, different, let's say, clients. But like, what specific problems do you address? Like questions to what specific issues or obstacles to fix?
Yeah, it's a great question. We sort of think about it as professional or business questions, as opposed to, this isn't like which is the best Thai restaurant in my area. It's more like, who are the main competitors or players in XYZ space? How are expressing sentiment towards XYZ legislation that tech companies will worry about? But when you take it a step back, we sort of work across what we refer to as the innovation pipeline. So from what is the original strategy and how are we going to win, to what ideas and what opportunity spaces should we explore, to can we validate some of those and see where the size of the prize is, or the future potential of any given territory might be, to then developing, prototyping, seeing, what makes sense, to then go to market. How do we launch this? What's the business model? How do we think about pricing? All of those stages require insights and answers. Some of those, again, you might lean more into primary, but we are serving our clients across any given category and geography across that full spectrum. So, again, it's questions around your audience, around your market, around competitive dynamics or trends that you're looking for either quick early insight or really, really rich deep dives and kind of thorough accounts on.
I see. And who are your clients? Is there any industry or focus areas or sectors that are more prominent in your client base?
Yeah, so we work with the majority of the Fortune 500 is kind of who tends to be really happy with our work. We work with the kind of world's leading consultancies without mentioning any by name, and then even some kind of PE investment firms who are looking to due diligence opportunities. But it ultimately comes down to either strategy or innovation or kind of future forward teams, or people who are trying to plan for the best decision to make against a given, target or objective. So we tend to exist, especially at Fortune 500, Fortune 5000, but industry agnostic for the most part. I mean, we work across all industries. And as I mentioned, geos, obviously there's a certain level of depth around legal or health or kind of pharmaceutical granularity that you're going to need types of data sources and then level of insight. But anything that's publicly available is, what Wonder is pulling from and our researchers have expertise in. So it kind of spans the gamut.
What is your top client acquisition channel, like to reach out and obtain these clients all across the board?
Historically, it's been outbound. We have kind of really nailed that effort down and gotten it pretty strong from an approach and a messaging perspective. My role is actually building out the inbound. So hopefully if we talk in a year, I have a different answer, but right now and historically it's been outbound.
Right. So if it's outbound, like for example, the inbound role that is usually played by the website in this case, if it's not that for now, it might be in a year, as you mentioned. What is the role of the website at the moment when it comes to client acquisition, if there is any?
Yeah, so I'll actually speak to, I'm not sure exactly when this will be live, but I'll speak to in, kind of 2 weeks time from this conversation when our new website is live. Because historically, the website aimed to kind of provide a high level overview of what we do. There was pricing information at one point, but moving forward, we're thinking a little bit more specifically around the role it'll play. The idea is firstly that with more, call it create demand efforts, that as people discover us and they go to the website to get questions answered, they get really quick clarity around who we are, who we're for, or maybe more importantly, who we're not for, just so they can either see themselves in the pain points and the solutions described or not. Provide some credibility around the types of, as you asked, companies that we work with, and then also real tangibility around how does our product work? How simple is the process? What inputs are needed, which are literally just coming to us with an early question, and we'll help you get to a better question and get you the answers. And then use cases. So again, as you asked me as well, what are the types of questions we ask for clients? We've got lots of examples. So the idea is to bridge people from that early interest. Certainly if they come to the website totally unaware of us, they would get much better clarity than is currently the case. But the idea is to move people from interested to I'm leaning forward and I want to talk to someone because something on here piqued my interest or really resonated with a pain point.
I see. So just to have a basic understanding, if you have to describe the strengths versus the weaknesses of the website, would you say that the website is more, let's say, user experience driven on the strong side, but not yet so much driven on the conversion of leads quality?
I'll say historically that's right. Moving forward, the idea is that we are helping people self-qualify. And then, through our inbound flow, it's just a couple of quick questions to book a calendar or book a call right off of our calendar on the website. The idea is there's a couple of additional questions that will help people get a sense if they're a good fit. But the idea is that for the website to play a better role in helping high intent and great fit audience members engage with us.
Right. Excellent. Now to switch the gears of the conversation a little bit, I wanted to ask you about you as a leader, right? What are the key tasks that you focus on your day-to-day work? Because from what you mentioned at the beginning, I understand that you have quite a bit of a dynamic role. You probably cover a number of fields, right?
That's right. Trying to stay focused currently, I guess to recap, the growth remit means ultimately driving revenue for the business, but with an eye towards that very top of the funnel, building not only brand awareness, but even before that, problem awareness, category and solution awareness, and then having Wonder show up and be top of mind as a top choice as a solution. So tactically, what that translates to is everything from the product marketing components. Who are we? What's the story we tell? The language we use that show up then on different channels, including the website, including our email communications, including our social presence. And then kind of tactically the where in terms of where we show up. So again, I mentioned email, we engage with our customer base, but also our kind of contact list. There's LinkedIn. We're focused pretty organically there, but experimenting with different angles in terms of personal brands as well as the company brand. And then we have a biweekly event series that we host, virtually but live. So there's a lot of logistics and kind of content planning, content flywheel elements of that as well. But it's really a balance of, I would say, the product marketing underneath the iceberg level. There's the above the iceberg level in terms of the channels and the execution. And then there's sort of the feedback loop that connects the two in terms of what data are we seeing, what lessons are we learning, what are we hearing from customers or prospects that we either need to weave into our messaging to be clearer about or weave into our content to educate them on. That's kind of the breakdown.
Okay. Now I want to ask you a few rapid fire questions to approach the end of the interview. Some quick shoots basically. What is the last book you read?
Yeah, I'll say the first thing I picked up when I was starting this new role was When Coffee and Carrots Compete. Always a good read, always full of sticky notes and highlighters. I will also say, as sort of a hot take, I recently read Shoe Dog, the Nike book, on vacation, and I know a lot of people loved it and recommended it. I don't know if it was all that valuable to me, a little kind of peripherally business related, but there's a high recommended book and a maybe read the Spark Notes version from me.
Interesting. Okay, because I'm actually looking for new things to add to the library recently. I was looking for new reads, so I'll take note of that.
Yeah, definitely copy. Yeah,
for sure. Also, what's the one single thing that your company is focused on at the moment? The biggest focus, perhaps, is it the new version of the product that you're launching, like the AI version, or what would it be?
Internally, what we're focused on is, I would say it's optimizing the experience for our users. We just launched a new version of our product and have had a ton of great feedback, as well as just usage and adoption among our existing customer base. So the next step of that is getting that super, super watertight, as optimized and positive as possible so we can launch more broadly to GA. And then with that comes things like trials to help GA and the general population become aware of it. So it's as much about really bolstering the actual product as well as getting it out there. Of course, always a priority. Can build a city and an amazing product, but if no one knows about it, it only goes so far.
True. It's the whole tree in the forest anecdote, right?
Yes, I'm mixing metaphors, but you're exactly right.
Yes. Also, if there was one repetitive task that you could automate of, let's say, things that involved in your field, what would it be? Anything really?
The couple pieces that come to mind, especially with our live events I mentioned, are the clips post-event processes, like automating sharp clips, adding in the wrapping of intros, outros, adding in the kind of post-production of content. It is still kind of clunky, and even AI or automated tools aren't totally reliable yet. So it does require time to manage and do. The other piece is just connecting data across different parts of the organization, different systems, different styles, if it's qual or quant. It's so important to get that connective fiber, but it is not easy.
I can only agree. I mean, especially with the post-production part of content that you mentioned, I'm sure our editing team would really appreciate that for the podcast. You know, if there was such a tool for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see all people who like behind the scenes magic, and I can always appreciate great either clips or whatever when I see them, but now I have an appreciation for what truly goes into it. Tools will get there. I do feel confident that it's just a matter of time, but we're just not there yet. There's one that I found that really replaces me, and I'm, quality is no concern, etc.
Talking about getting there, like let's say that technology wasn't, an issue, right? Like there were no boundaries in that. What would be the thing that you would fix in your role as a marketer today? Assuming that anything could be possible.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about my answer to the last question, the data connectivity piece, the infrastructure and the foundation. I mean, there's data lakes and warehouses and lake houses and all of these names, but like the simplicity that should be involved in collecting data and insights and findings and research from so many different corners and motions of the organization into a place, helping to organize and collect them, helping to connect the dots between different types of personas who answered this question here and that question there, aggregating and extracting insights, and then making it really easy for the rest of the organization to go or query or whatever. That obviously requires a lot of technology, but if that was like the boundaries were broken down, that would be the dream, and I think would really transform a lot of companies.
Okay. Also, the final question to this rapid fire test would be, what is one piece of advice that you would give yourself if you were to start your journey as a marketer today?
Oh, yeah. I sort of think about this, and not maybe one piece, but sort of like a start, stop, continue. I think the probably experimenting more with and getting my hands dirty, even if it was just to like trial all these different tools and platforms. When I first started, it was less of a thing, and now there's a lot of them. But I think that muscle of figure it out, spend a weekend on it, spend a weeknight, once a week on, this latest tool or getting comfortable with this platform goes a long way, if nothing else, to get a, user experience or understand how different things work. I'd maybe like stop the emphasis, which, you need to do when you're starting out, but on the tactical and getting that muscle of like, getting things done so I feel productive. Because as you get farther along in your career, the smarter, the strategic, the bigger picture, if you can do fewer activities that have higher leverage. And I think that's an important thing for people to keep in mind as they grow in their career. And then the customer obsession. I know that you guys talk about this a lot in all of your conversations, but the customers who pays the bills and the customers who you're trying to help. So connecting those two pieces is ultimately at the core of every successful business.
Right.
So I definitely continue the like fierce protection of what customer needs are and how you can best serve them.
All right. Excellent answer. So thanks a lot for being on the show with us today. I want to give you the last word. Let's say that someone forgets everything about the interview today. What would be the one thing that they should remember about your company? The key takeaway?
Yeah, I think our businesses are only as good as the decisions we make, which is only as good as the information we have. And it's only going to get to you through better questions. So I think ask more questions, ask better questions, make sure you're getting better answers quicker, faster, and kind of your innovation velocity and your impact will only increase. So we're happy to help you do that. We're happy to help you brainstorm on how to do that. We've got our clarification engine. We've got our amazing researchers, but there's plenty of ways that you can get better information to make better decisions. And so that's what we're optimizing for, and we're here to help you however we can.
Sounds excellent. Thank you for your time today, Victoria.
Thank you. Great to be here.